Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Go check out my website at skysworld.com for life coaching and mentoring. Sometimes you're not ready. Sometimes you're just not ready, and it's hard to hear that. You might not be ready yet. I've told people this before. You're not ready yet. You need more. You need to learn more. You need to train more. You need to practice more. While you're hanging out, watching TV, playing your little video games, chilling with your homeboys, whatever it is you do, relaxing, sleeping, going on little dates with your girl. When you're doing all that shit, you know what the competition's doing? They're training. They are busting their ass. When you're not paying attention, these motherfuckers are laser focused, mission driven. You're like, oh, I'll get to it tomorrow. These motherfuckers are going to be done with it today, and they're going to be on something else tomorrow. They are ahead of you. It doesn't feel good, and I know this from personal experience, it doesn't feel good to be told that you're inadequate, that you don't know enough, that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy of being chosen. You're not worthy of this job. You're not worthy of this relationship, of this opportunity. It sucks being told that kind of stuff. And you walk away pissed. Oh, I know I do. Bitter. I turn into all middle fingers. Yeah, well, fuck you motherfuckers then. But I've also been on the other end of this, and you have to learn to tell people no. You have to learn to be honest with people, especially rookies, especially people that haven't done shit. Certain types of people want to skip over putting in work, paying dues, and get right to the top. It doesn't work that way. Life isn't going to be that way. Business isn't that way. Nothing is that way. Many of the people that you think came out of nowhere and got lucky were secretly putting in work for years. Some band that you never heard of, they came out of nowhere, one hit wonder, next thing you know, they're the most famous thing ever. You don't know their history. You don't know that those guys were playing bars 5 nights a week, not getting paid, driving to different counties, having a miserable time of it, and doing that for 11 years, and then finally they got an opportunity that went somewhere. You don't know the background. You can do somebody a real favor with your honesty, even if that honesty puts them in their place, even if that honesty tells them you're not good enough yet, you're not there yet. That hurts to hear. When you're on the other side of it, you understand it. I'll tell you a story. I've been self-employed for many years. I've owned a motorcycle shop. For those of you that are new to the channel or don't know who I am, I've owned a motorcycle shop called Sinister City Motorcycles for at least 20 years now. We started in Los Angeles. We moved to Daytona Beach, Florida many years ago. We've been rocking and rolling ever since. We mainly have done custom motorcycles. That's how we started. But we got into retail for a while. I had a retail store for a while. We sold parts, accessories, jackets, vests, all kinds of stuff, patches, all kinds of bullshit. For the last 7 or 8 years, we've been mainly fabricating motorcycle handlebars. But when I had my retail store, down the way a little bit in the mall was a t-shirt shop, and in the back of that t-shirt shop was a kid that was doing airbrushing. You know, white t-shirts, airbrush a picture of you, or, you know, bullshit stuff, graffiti, or, you know, your name, or I love Becky. There's a lot of Beckys around here for some reason. You could just go to any populated place and just say, hey Becky, 7 or 8 fucking chicks, redneck bitches will turn around. And this kid was fascinated with us, biker culture, bikers. He would come by our store. Me and my brother always be there, and we'd always have bikes out back, and we'd always have other friends there as well, hanging out. Lots of people come to see us, and you know, the guys from the band Sick of It All would come through, guys from Social Distortion come through, guys from various hardcore bands all throughout, from New York, Boston. They all come through Orlando. When they come through Orlando, they would come to my store. So it was a hot place to be. And when he would get a break, he would always come down and hang out, try to check out the scene. I knew he was airbrushing, and he would show me the stuff that he would do and try to entice me into maybe using him on some of our projects, but I wasn't into his style. I wasn't into his quality. I didn't think he was good. I thought he basically was not good. He sucked. But he's a nice guy. And he asked me one day straight out, can I please do one of your projects? I won't even charge you for it. I just want to do one of your bikes. And I said no. I told him no, straight to his face. I didn't even have to think about it. I wasn't like, well, let me think about it. We have a painter that, I didn't give him excuses. I just was like, no. And he was shocked. He was really taken back by it. He was offended, and I could see it on his face and his posture. He did not expect just a straight out no. And he asked why, and I told him, because you're not good enough. And he was even more shocked by that. I'm not good enough. He thought he was pretty good. And he had a little crew of friends that sometimes him and his friends would come over. They're all younger, but he had his own little crew. And I could tell that his friends probably were gassing him up all the time, trying to tell him, oh, you're the best, bro. You're the best, bro. You're so great. Well, Sky didn't think he was so great. I'm on a different level. I was using the best people around. We're going with Joe Tejano. At the time, I don't know what happened to Tejano. Tejano was the best. The best. You can't fuck with Tejano. This guy is much older. He's an old man, Mexican. This guy had been airbrushing since they invented airbrush machines, man. He teaches classes on this shit, man. Nobody's better than Tejano, and I'm honored to have his signatures and airbrushings on some of the bikes that we've done, and I had access to him. We were using Chris Cruz, we were using Chad Chambers, we were using Brian Bone. Brian is fucking amazing. Brian can paint his fucking ass off, and Brian was doing $350,000 fucking SEMA cars. Do the whole car, the fucking door jambs, every inch of it. He'd airbrush every bit of this shit. Brian could airbrush his ass off. Top of the game. Top of the fucking airbrush world. And these are the guys that we were using. And this kid says, I want to do your shit. And I told him straight out, no, we're not going to use you. And I told him that you're not good enough. He said, why? Because you're not good enough, kid. And I don't really drop names, but I did with this conversation. And I said, hey, I'm using Tejano. I'm using Chris, Cruz, Chad. I got all these guys, Brian. I'm using the top. I'm just lucky enough to be able to afford. These guys aren't cheap, and these are who we use. And I'm down with all these guys. I've known them forever. So he sulked away. Oh, he was so upset. And his little crew of guys, they all hated me. They hated me. Those little dudes were mad as fuck that I said he wasn't good enough. Well, years go by. 7 years or so go by. I forget all about this kid, man. My brother runs into him. And he mentions, oh, you remember that kid? And he has to talk about him. He worked at the t-shirt shop down from us. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that kid. He was like, well, he's gotten good. He lost a bunch of weight. He's got himself in shape. He changed his life around. He's no longer on drugs. And he is airbrushing his little ass off. I saw him and talked to him. And he told me, he was like, he wanted to thank you. He said, if you see your brother Sky, tell him thank you. He's like, this kid was mad at me for a long time. But that inspired him. Oh, fuck Sky. How many times did he say fuck Sky? Probably 100 million as he's practicing. Doing skulls, doing dragons, practicing, doing murals, saying, fuck Sky. Check this out, motherfucker. So he became an excellent airbrusher, and he's out there somewhere airbrushing his little ass off, and I hope that he continues to say fuck Sky and becomes the next Tejano, the next Chris Cruz, the next Brian Bone. He becomes the next king. But you weren't ready when I was fucking with you. You might be ready now. It's food for thought.